welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ETNA's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center in every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight on Direct Connect, experts answering your questions sent to us earlier, and later on the show, we'll feature Wassup Laundry and RK Aroma. That's on our Small Giants segment. On Direct Connect tonight, we have a plethora of questions that have been sent to us earlier, and Prabhakar Dalal, former Executive Director of the Export-Import Bank of India, and Anita Bilani, Chief People Officer, Gaja Capital and partner of Lead Angels, answered all of those questions. Take a look. Thank you both very much for being with us here tonight to talk about a lot of the questions that have come in from our viewers. Let's kick this one off with a query that's come to us on our Facebook page. M. Karthik has written to us on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow and ET Now, where you too can leave your questions if you have anything for our experts. Karthik says he's a one-stop destination for custom engineering. He says his problem as an MSME is power cuts and power supply. Power cuts, he says, last for hours a day in high frequencies, causing major disruptions in their day-to-day operations. He says as a small business, he cannot afford to have generators running throughout the shift. He says it's completely unviable and adds to his burden as well as his overall operating costs. He says despite paying high taxes, that is his biggest grouse. He says despite paying high taxes, businesses like his are being faced with this scenario. What do our experts suggest? In terms of managing his operations, what would the two of you recommend?
You know, this is definitely a problem in India because there are pockets where you have power supply issues. There are a few ways of addressing this problem, and one way that, you know, that is, I mean, there are a few ways, but one of the ways that I think that he can do this is that in the industrial areas, you can actually form alliances with your neighboring partners that are in similar situations and try to maximize the use of generators. Because, you know, if you have your own generation plant, it becomes very difficult for you to justify the cost that goes with it. But if you were to use it as on a community basis and see how you can maximize those, you know, those costs along with your peers in the community, that is one area. The other piece, which could be prohibitively expensive to begin with, but, you know, could work in the long run, is solar power. Okay. You know, so to really look at alternative, you know, sources of energy, that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree with her because there should be a cluster approach. Like, you know, similar units can come together and they can share the power cost of the unit. That will work out much viable for them. And as regards solar, like you rightly observed, initial cost will be there, but operating cost will come down.
All right, Karthik, that's in response to your question. Thanks very much for sending that to us on our Facebook page. This next one is an email that's coming to us from R.S. Swaminathan. Swaminathan has written to us on our email ID, leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. He says he's in architectural and engineering services, and he provides these to the pharmaceutical, food, beverage, cosmetic industry, amongst other industries. He says his question today is essentially about funding. He says how banks assess the working capital requirement for MSME borrowers. He wants to know if consulting firms can assess the working capital requirement and whether consulting firms can qualify as MSME firms. He says, is it possible for an Indian design engineering consulting firm to get working capital loan from financial institutes? Can we have project funding from institutions on the basis of signed contracts and without collaterals? To the last part, of course, there is mudra without collateral, but we've discussed it previously that is still only up to 1 crore without collateral, but there are multiple parts of his question. Let me come to you, Mr. Dalal, first.
As far as whether this firm will qualify under SME or not, definition is clearly given in MSME Act 2016. So for services, there are different parameters are there. 10 lakhs, 2 crores and 5 crores for micro, small and medium enterprises. So if they fall in that category, then he will qualify as an MSME, either micro, small or medium enterprise. As regards the working capital finance, it depends on the working capital gap. If there is a working capital gap, banks can provide working capital finance to maybe 75% or 80% or 100% of the working capital gap. As regards term loans without collaterals, we have discussed this in the past. If he is taking a term loan for creating capital assets, normally banks will insist that those assets be hypothecated to the bank. There is a normal practice, but without collaterals, if he insists for that, bank is comfortable, then bank can take CGT SME cover to the extent of 50%, and other parameters being acceptable to the bank, they can provide term loan to him.
And just to add to what Mr. Dalal is saying, there are a lot of NBFCs these days that give unsecured loans. Of course, the quantum will be smaller, but at least that helps you in your working capital.
Sure.
And he needs to explore which of these NBFCs he can, explore with getting a small working capital loan. However, I would just want to highlight just one more thing to him, that the best way to manage your working capital is by throwing up cash from your business. So make sure that you manage your collections very well, because if any NBFC or bank will look at that as a parameter.
Sure. All right. That's in response to your question, Swaminathan, and trust that answers what you had sent us. Our next query is coming to us on Facebook. This is from M. Bhargava. He says that he's a supplier of photocopier papers, Xerox papers and computer parts. He says while vision and long-term planning is important, is short-term planning and efficiently taking care of the business today not equally important in the MSME business? Don't know where this question has possibly come about, but if you'd want to tackle that.
So, in any business, you have a goal post, which is your long-term plan. So that's what you're shooting for. But if you don't have the building blocks in the short term, in place, and you don't manage through those building blocks efficiently, you will never reach that goal post at the end of the day. So I don't know where this, it's a pretty broad question. I don't know where this is coming from, but long-term and short-term focus is very important. So you cannot, you cannot say, okay, I'm only focusing on long-term and not looking at the short-term.
Okay.
So, it's about this balance, because the short-term is so critical on a day-to-day basis that somewhere your long-term picture just gets blurred.
Okay.
So it's actually the opposite.
All right.
Just to add to that, like short-term plan should be in tandem with the long-term plan. Otherwise, short-term, like you run up high current liabilities and your assets, then your business will not survive.
Exactly.
So you should have that long-term vision in mind. At the same time, that short-term plan, whatever you are executing, should be in tandem with the long-term.
Yes.
All right. Bhargava, that's in response to your question. Both are equally important, like experts are saying, and even as you're looking at the long term, ensure that you don't overlook what is happening in terms of your day-to-day operations. Our next query is a tweet that's coming to us from T. Naik. You can tweet at us at LUT_ET now. That's our Twitter handle. He says they are manufacturers of press tools and press components, amongst other things. He says, what are the new technologies which have been introduced in the market for additional automation which are helpful as far as the mechanical press business is concerned? He says, what measures do we need to take to ensure that employees continue in the long term with organizations? So that's essentially a two-part question, and let me come to you on the second part of the first, and then maybe you could take the first part.
So, this is a very relevant problem for any small business. How do I make my employees stay with me? So typically what happens is when we hire people, we are hiring for the technical skills, but we really forget about the alignment with who we are and what are our values and culture. So this misalignment actually leads to employees being disillusioned, they leave, and then we are, the cost of hiring them back is actually quite prohibitive for a small firm. So it's about really hiring for the future. So you hire junior people who are aligned to you, because you can teach the technical skills. So even if somebody is 60% relevant to you in terms of their capability, hire them, and then because they are aligned to you on your values, so that you have the ability to groom them, skill them, grow them, and be transparent, be honest with your employees about who you are, what you can offer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of the technology which is available specifically for this industry.
But there are many new technologies coming up in the market, and he can access them.
I presume, Naik, that's in response to your question. Thanks very much for sending that to us. Time for one last query in this segment. This is an email coming to us from Shazia Beg. Shazia says they're manufacturers of bags She wants to know why there are no boundaries where online retailers are concerned, because in her opinion and in her experience, she says they give discounts for up to 70%, whereas offline retailers like herself are able to offer only 20%. One, how they're able to offer that, and two, how they can therefore earn profits and maintain their profits and maintain the margins in this scenario.
You know, there is no denying that for retailers today, the online or e-commerce in general has caused a huge amount of, you know, stress in the way they operate. So how do you really, you know, manage your customer experience becomes very important. Of course, the product has to be good, but, you know, online cannot replace the, you know, offline experience if the experience is great. So, you know, the touch and feel of the product, the way it's displayed, how your staff really greets, you know, the consumer. How do you come up with newer products that keep me coming back to the store? It's very important. So Shazia needs to probably look at this whole ecosystem. And also in the online world, you know, maybe there is a way for her to look at how can she go through a multi-channel approach rather than an omni-channel approach.
Yeah, multi-channel is there, but I guess that I believe that India is a huge market, and both offline and online can coexist. And online and offline both have their distinct advantages, like you explained. For example, you touch and feel the product.
Right.
You can provide other services, like you can explain this in the new product. You can accept the return of the goods. I mean, there are many advantages. You can provide after-sales service. Online, once you sold, you don't know whom to contact, what to do with the product if you are not happy.
Shazia, that's in response to your question, and we've run completely out of time on this episode. Mr. Dalal, Anita, thank you both very much for being here tonight. Time for a break. On the other side, on Small Giants, Wassup Laundry and RK Aroma coming up. To stay tuned. Back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're bringing you two stories, Wassup Laundry and RK Aroma. That's on our Small Giant segment. Now, with the increasing number of working professionals with hectic schedules, on-demand services are gaining momentum across the country. With a plan to disrupt the laundry market by adopting the latest technology, the startup is making laundry a hassle-free chore for its consumers. Anshua Banerjee has more.
Day-to-day living, especially in fast-paced metro, is frantic whether you are a working couple or single. And staying away from homes is a hustle to do the boring and tiring laundry. Trying to fill the gap by offering a comprehensive solution at an affordable price is Wassup Laundry, aiming to create an affordable destination for all garment washing. On-demand is the future of businesses delivering goods and services, from cabs to groceries, even astrology for that matter. Talk to us about your initial inspiration behind disrupting the laundry market by on-demand services.
So I've been a retail guy for the last 15 years, and I've noticed that services are a booming sector in the last, especially a decade, and there are many services which came from the unorganized sector. For example, take the barber space. The barber who was an unorganized sector 15 years back is no longer unorganized, so then they are now stylists. This is a move from the unorganized to the organized. So I felt there was a huge scope for the laundry sector, which is quite large in India, which again has the similar problems of an unorganized sector and a fragmented back end, which would probably be upgraded with professional people coming into the space. So that's what motivated us to start Wassup in 2011. When we saw that there's a huge opportunity, there are not many professional players in this space.
Let's talk about a garment's journey. How does Wassup Laundry work to create an affordable destination for all working professionals in the city?
So as you rightly said, the social class in terms of double income households, young professionals who don't have a support system, people who have moved from smaller cities to larger cities. So we have an offering in Wassup where we use omni-channel. So we reach out to customers either through the app or the mobile phone or our website, or we have our hyper-local stores which are present in neighborhood areas where people can come and drop off the clothes. So for us, it's giving the choice to the customer to reach us out in whichever way they prefer.
So Bala, according to a Euromonitor International report, the unorganized sector in India lies at 200,000 crores. Only 5% is organized and the rest remains unexplored. Why do you think there are such less number of players in the laundry sector?
Laundry industry has been predominantly dominated by family-run mom and pop stores and the dhobis, and there have been, if you'd see the nature, they have been mostly city based. So you have a player who's having about 15 stores in a city, but he is not present in any other city. So they have been family run businesses in one city but have not scaled up. Corporates tried entering the segment. I think it was in 1990s when Unilever launched a laundry service brand. IFB launched a laundry service brand, but somehow they didn't take off because I felt that probably they were a little bit ahead of the time in terms of coming into services. So what we feel is the consumption is right now moving from washing at home and having maid servants and having dhobis, because A, you don't have time to wash at home. Maid servants have become difficult to find, and their rate list is much more higher than a 5-star rate list, and dhobis are actually moving away from the profession. So this would invariably mean that households would depend upon professional services like ours to outsource laundry requirements.
We know that your company follows a franchisee model to scale your business nationwide. I'm very curious to know about your revenue model, since you've secured several rounds of funding from angel investors and banks.
We're very conscious of the cash flows coming in. So we realized very early that retail is a slow business to build, because you need to keep investing more to acquire customers, and further you need to keep spending to gain your market share. That's why we structured our model with a 50% B2B and 50% B2C. So there's stable revenues coming in from B2B players, which include what I told earlier, like hotels and other chains, which constitute 50% of our business. And the retail revenue comes from, which is gradually growing, which is a large size of the market, is where we are looking to be market leaders at. And why franchisee business is because couple of reasons. One is we always believed that we need to bring in more partners, and with existing infrastructure that is there in laundry being very unorganized and very fragmented, and problems of lack of technology, problems of lack of process, problems of lack of training being there, we felt that we could probably bring in franchisees who are interested to invest into laundry business.
Bala, a lot of MSMEs who come to our show talk about leveraging technology in their business. However, they say that they do not have the sufficient funds to do so. So talk to us about your funding journey and your advice to our fellow entrepreneurs about how they should leverage technology initially.
Technology, the beauty about technology is that you can obviously leverage your network, and you can get things done if you use the right networks. I believe that technology is not just the consumer app, it's also how your process works. So our process tracks the garment across the complete supply chain, how the process works internally in terms of moving across different departments. All these are very important in technology. Yes, when you're bootstrapping, it's difficult, but as an entrepreneur, what you have to do is find your own way and try to get the best what is needed for your business at the least amount what you can spend at.
Talking about being socially responsible, as we put an end to this conversation, talk to your viewers about how you embrace the existing dhobiwalas and put them on the path of economic empowerment.
So one of the main motivations we came into this business, me and my co-founder Durga, was that we felt that there's a huge amount of, there's a large community. To be precise, there are 11.2 million dhobis in India who are suffering from lack of infrastructure, modernization, support, education, and also probably lack of organizing themselves, right? So we felt that there's an opportunity to elevate the dhobi rather than eliminate the dhobi. What he actually needs is machinery, technology, which is in terms of reach to the customer, and a brand. So our current strategy, future strategy weaves in a lot of hand-holding, collaboration, working together with the Dhobi community as well. And as we said, we want to elevate them rather than eliminate them.
Wassup Laundry is currently servicing 700 orders per day and aims to touch 5,000 in the next 6 months. One of the most impressive things the company has achieved is that while bringing efficiency to the market, they have also embraced the existing Dhobiwalas. Wassup's vision is to elevate the 11 million Dhobis in India through the Wassup Dhobi Partnership Program, playing a crucial role in making the biggest unorganized sector to an organized one.
Aromatherapy is a practice that is as age-old as it is new age, and RK Aroma, a leading manufacturer, retailer and exporter of premium aromatherapy products, has grown to become a guru in the space. Pooja Jain has more. Take a look.
मैं एरोमा थेरेपिस्ट हूँ और 15 साल से मैं आरके एरोमा से जुड़ी हुई हूँ.
I've been distributing RK Aromas since more than 20 years.
I'm an aromatherapist. I use RK Aroma products heavily in my practice.
इसके जो प्रभावी ऑयल है जिसको एसेंशियल ऑयल कहते हैं वो बहुत ही बेहतरीन और गुणकारी होते हैं.
They were the first people to have launched the mini kits in India. Way back even before anyone else even thought of it.
जैसे कि अंडर आई डार्क सर्कल है, अनइवन टोन है, मंकी पैच है, रिंकल्स है, इसके लिए बेहतरीन रिजल्ट देते हैं.
The fact that the clients come back asking for RK Aroma products speaks for itself.
Extracting essential oils from the earth's rich organic reserves is RK Aroma, a company that has built a multi-channel business based on the boons of aromatherapy. RK Aroma, with its rich range of herbal care products for the hair, nails and body, has found favor for both its cosmetic qualities and medicinal magic. We explored how the company's healing and dealing strategies have shaped India's evolving aromatherapy landscape. RK Aroma was founded in the 1990s when the art of healing, particularly in India, was in its infancy. So what inspired you to build an aromatherapy business then?
Now, me coming from a background of perfumery family, thought it would be a lovely opportunity to start selling essential oils in India. Second of all, I was very sure it worked 100% therapeutically. So we started off basically with skincare products and then slowly got into various concepts of massage oils and health and beauty and emotional problems. And in the days of old, it used to be very difficult for me to sell these bottles, especially these 10 ml bottles. And a lot of people in the industry of essential oils laughed at me because they used to give 10 ml as samples and I would sell them. But today they all realized and I appreciate what we did to popularize aromatherapy in India.
Today, the company's portfolio includes hundreds of FDA-approved all-natural products. But how challenging was it to get your first product to market?
We were first initially working with the beauticians, which got us to wholesalers and retailers because there was a demand created there. From there, we moved on to the e-com business, and then came a time when the spas started getting popular in India. And we specialize in custom making products for the spas. So that brought in more charm to the business. More business started flowing in, and today we are selling to more than 300 spas all over India. And slowly and gradually we started doing more products, adding on products which were never done in India before. For example, propolis, moringa, apple seed enzyme. These are the few of our products which India had never seen before.
How difficult is it to design a portfolio of products rich on the medicinal properties, but that also deliver on the cosmetic expectations that consumers have come to expect?
Yes, of course it is. Basically, aromatherapy is the art of blending. The important thing about aromatherapy is the fragrance. So when we incorporate a fragrance which is blended into a cosmetic product, it has to smell nice. Because if you don't like this fragrance, you'll block it mentally. So it won't really work. So what we do is we blend various types of oils to create a fragrance which have got therapeutical properties. I'll give you an example. I've just recently introduced a new range of products. It's a line of facial treatment called moringa. Nobody's done moringa in India before. Internationally, especially in the US, it's called the miracle plant. It's got a hell lot of therapeutical properties. It's possibly got more proteins than any other product, more vitamins, more calcium.
What sort of distribution strategy has worked for you with respect to building a pan-India presence around your products?
Right from professional beauticians to a housewife, catering to their needs, to the younger generation, college-going children, I would put it, alternative medicinal practitioners, the spas. So the whole range is growing. Besides that, we have traditional methods of marketing. That's through the wholesalers and retailers and outlets in India. And slowly and gradually, we are enhancing our marketing concepts.
How do you see the future of aromatherapy evolving going forward?
Well, aromatherapy is yet a baby in India. We want to turn it into teens and then get it into maturity. The business at this moment is growing to the ratio of maybe 25% per annum. And there are lots more new players coming into the market. The more the competition, the better it is. What I feel is that we've got a very bright future.
RK Aroma has capitalized on its early mover advantage to establish a long-standing loyalty amongst both health-conscious consumers and professional practitioners alike. And with its first-to-market product line, the company has permeated India's sea of spas and salons, cashing in on the growing trend to look good and feel great. With a tried and trusted line of body care products that deliver on what they promise, RK Aroma is setting the new standard in the art of aromatherapy.
Completely out of time in this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have anything that you want to say to us, do remember you can write in at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. If you have any questions for our experts, tweet at us at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now. Leave your questions on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow and ET now. You can also call us with your questions on that number you see on your screens. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.